Hey guys, it's Kaylin here at Full Purpose and Heart, and I am going to give you a delightful update of where we are in our homeschool journey. We are in about week 23 or so. It's kind of all mixed up because we had a rough patch there in the middle, which I talked about in my last video. So anyway, a little different from my other usual homeschool updates. I've been doing a lot of reflection, a lot of revamping, and I wanted to kind of share with you some of the things that I've learned here in my first official year of homeschooling. Some of the things I think I did right, and then a couple of things I think I did not so right and I want to revamp, so that if this is your first year homeschooling or you're considering doing it, then maybe this will give you some ideas of what to look out for, or if you're experiencing them too, then at least you can have some reassurance that you're not out there alone. So anyway, let's go ahead and get started. Okay, so let me do a really quick recap so that in case you're kind of new to the channel or you haven't been watching all of my update videos, then you know kind of where we are. So my son is 4 and he will be turning 5 this summer and eligible for kindergarten. I have been homeschooling him during like what I guess is called like toddler school or tots school. So he's kind of been in this homeschooling world since he was about 2.5, almost 3. So although this is my official first year homeschooling, we have been doing homeschooling for a couple of years now. And with my first official year, I was really trying to focus on getting adequate hours in, although my state doesn't have any requirements for homeschooling hours all the way through like high school. Our state doesn't have any parameters that we have to meet. I wanted to personally make these goals for myself. So at the beginning of September, things were going really great, and I was really involved in planning and preparing lessons for our homeschool. And everything that I was doing was very pieced together. I didn't have a boxed set. I didn't purchase anything. I wanted to do it pretty cheap, which is kind of a lie. Okay, so in the beginning, I had purchased a program from Confessions of a Homeschooler, and it was her K4 program, and it kind of builds off of her Letters of the Week program, which we had been doing for previous years. I did kind of a review on that in another video, so I'll link that up in the corner if you want to see how I felt about that. Halfway through the fall semester, I switched, and we no longer were doing the K4 curriculum for various reasons, and so I switched to Christian Light Education, which is more of a workbook program, and we were completing these work pages throughout as a part of our work boxes or our school day. Then January and February hit, which was my last video, and you guys, if you have been following, then you know I had kind of a really rough January and February because we got pregnant unexpectedly, and I was just down for the count, as many moms can relate when you're going through that first trimester. It's almost like you don't remember what it's like to have energy and to be motivated and to be able to function at your usual self. So that's kind of where I want to start my video today, is picking up from where we have kind of left off. And we had, our homeschool was kind of pretty much in shambles. I was doing the bare minimums, which included some computer work that's being provided by my state, and then we were doing occasionally the Christian Light Education work pages when I could fit them in, but on a 5-day school week, we were really probably only doing it 2 days a week. So let me tell you a couple of things that I have been thinking about and feel like I didn't do correctly when I started my homeschool. And I have them written down as notes so that I can hopefully go over them all right. So that's what I'm going to glance at. Okay, so the first thing that I think I did wrong when I was building my homeschool whatever program is that I was being very organic in creating all of my curriculum. Everything from Bible time to math to literature, ABCs, writing, everything. I was very organic. And I get that because as a public school teacher, you get a textbook and then you have to teach the students whatever the standards that the state has created for you, and then use the textbook as kind of a resource. So I had taken the skills that I had learned in my public school teaching days which was about 7 years of teaching, and I was trying to translate that into my homeschool life. And I have since learned that keeping up with that pace is impossible because there's lots of different subjects. I was also trying to do it on a very inexpensive level, so I was looking for anything free that I could get online, or I would find something online that I liked, and then I was trying to duplicate it by making it myself. So that was okay for this first several months, but especially when early January hit and I was still functioning pretty well, I had pretty much run out of creativity, motivation, steam, time. It was all very time consuming to be writing my own curriculum for basically every subject. So that was one thing that I did wrong, and if I could go back and do it again, I would really research and try to find some kind of curriculum or some kind of program that would do it for me for whatever subjects I want to cover. My son is also in kindergarten level learning. He has completed and mastered all of the preschool elements and skills. So we have been moving into a kindergarten range with early reading and addition, subtraction, and that sort of thing. So I really am kind of in a mode of trying to find curriculum that's already built, already written, that I can invest in. Fortunately, there's lots of good reviews on YouTube and lots of mamas out there that have shared what they have done for their kindergarten level students. So I'm grateful for that. But kind of as a word of warning for those who are considering it, I always knew that homeschooling was an investment. I just wasn't sure how much I wanted to invest in it. I felt like, you know, I had purchased the K-4 curriculum and I was going to build off of that. And in retrospect, I really feel like I needed, for my lifestyle, I needed something that was pre-built and pre-made so that when the rocky roads hit, which for me was January and February, because I had gotten pregnant, that school doesn't just fall apart, which is exactly what happened. So the first thing that I would redo is to not create an organic curriculum from scratch on my own, is the first thing I would do differently. Okay. The second thing is that I had really kind of stopped planning my days. And as a teacher in a public school, I know that like daily planning, lesson plans are imperative to a successful school day. And somehow during my, you know, busyness of the holiday season, I had kind of lost my rhythm that I was in to plan my lessons. And so I'm kind of reworking that and trying to find a different method for planning my lessons. I do think that they're good. We're still doing the workbox system, but kind of as time is going on, I'm beginning to feel like that system doesn't work as well for us as it did when we were working in the Letters of the Week program, which was kind of a year and a half ago or so. So anyway, that's tip number 2, is that I would try to plan and organize my school more in advance as opposed to trying to do it on a week-by-week basis. I was really, especially like in November and December, I was spending large hours, chunks of hours in the evening over the weekend to try and plan for the next coming week, which would be okay, but that's the time that I'm home with my husband and the kids are in bed, and I like to kind of have that quiet time with my husband just to kind of catch up and watch a show or, you know, do whatever. So anyway, so those are just a couple of things. Although they are few in number, they are large in how your school would work and how it would function. But despite all of that, there are a couple of things that I did right and that I'm going to continue to build on. So the first thing that I did right is that I invested in an HP printer kind of at the beginning of the school year, and then I got the HP Instant Ink printing settings or whatever, the printer ink. If you haven't heard of this, it's like hpinstantink.com or something. Check the description box below. I'll make sure and link it correctly. And you like prepay for your ink. And I am like a color ink fanatic. I love to print everything in color ink. Large posters. Let me show you this poster. Large posters like this, I like to print out on my printer. I don't want to have to like go down to the copy store and use their colored ink. So having the HP Instant Ink was a really great thing for me because I was creating so many organic worksheets, I could make them in color and print them off and cut them up and have matching games or letters or numbers or whatever it was that we were working on, and I didn't have to worry about the cost of ink because I got 300 pages that I could print a month, which is plenty more than I need for $10 a month, and I could use all the color ink that I wanted, which for me was a lot. So Anyway, that's one thing that I did right. The other thing I did right was purchasing, I'm going to grab it for you right here, our Christian education workbooks, our Christian Light education workbooks. Again, I talked about how I was doing a really organic curriculum, and that is really, really difficult, especially when I have a 1-year-old that I'm trying to kind of, I don't know, control a little bit during school time. And now we have another baby on the way, which is going to really change the dynamics of our school come next school year. So having a pre-written curriculum and something that we could just turn to and work on is great. I only purchased the workbooks. They're very affordable. And in retrospect, or in the future, actually, I will be getting their lesson plan books, because it will really kind of map out lessons that I can teach that correlate with the activities. These are basic skills. We're on workbook 2. We're almost going to workbook 3 now. And these are really basic skills that my son really understands, and we could probably fly through it pretty fast, but I break it up and only give him 4 pages a day that he works on. So I kind of break it up. So that was a good thing. Another thing that I really think I did well, and it kind of is a tip for those out there who are either considering starting or have only just started, teacherspayteachers.com is a really great resource. And in the beginning, I was really hesitant to try to invest in what other people have created, but it's such a time saver. And it's really important for me to have those time-saving availabilities, or time-saving, what's the word? Anyway, resources. Although, yes, I do have to pay, $4 or $5 for them, I can reuse them, and even within the same child, like I have a reading comprehension page that I have been using, and we just reprint them and use them again and again when necessary. So I really do like Teachers Pay Teachers, and there's a lot of free stuff that you can get there too. So it's a great resource if you're looking for some stuff like that. Another good thing that I did right was YouTube. I really gain a lot. I've said this before. I get a lot of motivation, a lot of encouragement, a lot of ideas from you mamas out there who have YouTube channels and are willing to share things that you're doing in your schools. I have very young children, and there are a plethora of other moms out there who have very young children, and it's just really motivating to me. And those of you who have done morning baskets and shared your morning baskets have motivated me to try and organize a morning basket for our upcoming school days. So I don't have it yet, but I do really like that idea of starting with a morning basket and having kind of the beginning day in that. So anyway, the other thing that I want to say is kind of in between of doing right and doing wrong, but for the most part, I think I've done a really good job, is to not compare my homeschool picture and how our homeschool is running with anybody else in the world, and not to use anybody else in the world as a benchmark for me, because our situation and your situation and the neighbor's situation is so different. And although we can gain encouragement and we can gain inspiration from and ideas from each other, and that is a great thing, our home, my home, will run differently from everybody else's. And even during those 6 or 7 weeks of first trimester illness, when I was basically not functioning, I was just trying to modify it for myself. And it was really, kind of as a side tangent, in retrospect, those were some hard weeks for me where I was really considering that homeschool was not right for our family, that I couldn't hack it, and that I was going to register my son for public school and kindergarten. So if you're a mama that is pregnant and you're feeling like you can't do this, this is too hard, you're failing your child's education, just wait until after the baby comes and a few recovery weeks, then you'll feel like, oh, actually I am capable. I have pretty easy pregnancies after the first trimester, and so, we're about 17 weeks now, and I'm again beginning to feel like, okay, I can do school, and I'm even thinking I could build curriculum, and I can host summer camp and cooking classes and all this crazy stuff. So I'm kind of getting back to my usual self, and that's a thing that I didn't think that I could ever do 2 weeks ago or 4 weeks ago. So anyway, sorry for that little side tangent. So kind of as a summary, our homeschool life is picking up and improving. I really am looking for kind of a kindergarten curriculum. I'm going to start our official kindergarten curriculum probably about July. because the baby will be coming right when the fall semester typically starts, and I'm going to be taking a couple of weeks off for that. So I want to make sure that we start early enough that we can then take those couple of weeks off and still finish in the late spring. So at the end of 2019 or 18, whatever year it is. I guess it's 17, 18 next year. Anyway, so that's kind of where we are, and lots of good things that are happening, and also some really great revelations of like, this is how I need to work. And even though internally I want to write the curriculum and be organic and, you know, create each element of the school day on my own, it's just not feasible to do that days and days and days on end. So we're going to be revamping that and working on that. Anyway, life here in our home is happy and sunny and good, which is wonderful that spring has finally come and the rain is no longer here and the snow has all melted and we can actually go outside. Spring is kind of funny that sometimes it's cold, but for the most part, at least the sun is shining. So it's all a good thing here. Anyway, thanks so much for tuning in. Like this video if you liked it. Subscribe to my channel for more updates on our homeschool journey and other tips and tricks about what I'm doing in my life. And please make sure that you guys have a good day. I'll talk to you later.